Hello, and welcome to my video on cells. Cells are the most basic functional unit of all living things. And the best way to describe a cell is actually kind of to call it like a little city. They have their own little organs that act like public buildings that are available to us. The first part of the cell that I'm going to talk about is the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane separates internal metabolic events from the external environment and controls the movement of materials into and out of the cell. So, if you were to compare the cell membrane to a city, it'd kind of be like the limit. But I think a better way of describing it would be kind of like a border to another country. So if you look at these weird purple things well, they're not exactly purple in the actual human cell, but they're like these weird purple things. Those are proteins, and proteins are scattered throughout the flexible phospholipid membrane, which is this stuff. It's what really makes up the plasma membrane. And proteins may attach loosely to the inner or outer surface of the membrane, or they may extend into the membrane. What exactly is the purpose of these proteins? Well, the proteins help in letting things that are supposed to go into the cell go in, and things that are coming out of the cell get out. Because the phospholipid membrane, this stuff, is selectively permeable, which means only small, uncharged polar molecules and hydrophobic molecules are able to freely pass across the membrane. This is where the channel protein comes in. Channel proteins provide open passage through the membranes for certain hydrophilic, water-soluble substances, such as polar and charged molecules. And then there are carrier proteins. Carrier proteins bind to specific molecules, which are then transferred across the membrane after the carrier protein undergoes a change in shape. And then we have the transport proteins, which use energy in the form of ATP to transport materials across the membrane. When energy is used for this purpose, the materials are said to be actively transported, while any other means of transportation that I had mentioned before were passively transported, which means no energy was involved. We're going to move along because if I talked about receptor proteins, adhesion proteins, and cholesterol, this video would be way over 3 minutes. And now we get to organelles. Organelles are bodies within the cytoplasm that serve to physically separate the various metabolic reactions that occur within cells. So the nucleus, which is really the big, kind of most important thing within a cell, it contains the DNA, heredity information of the cell. Normally, the DNA is spread out within the nucleus as a thread-like matrix called chromatin, which is all this squiggly stuff that's going on. A good comparison for the nucleus would be a city hall, because it's the main really important thing and all of the information is stored in there. And then we have the endoplasmic reticulum. That's a mouthful, so we're going to call it ER. The ER consists of stacks of flattened sacs that begin as an extension of the outer bilayer of the nuclear envelope, which is the darker purple stuff. So basically, the ER is in charge of ribosomes, which are subunits that are manufactured in the nucleus and consist of RNA molecules and proteins. And then we have the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus, or Golgi, is a group of flattened sacs arranged like a stack of bowls. They collect and modify proteins and lipids made in other areas of the cell and package them into vesicles, small spherical shaped sacs that bud from the outside of the surface of the Golgi apparatus. Now, I didn't give you any sort of example to match with the ER, the ribosomes, and the Golgi. Well, because they're kind of like a really, really big shipping plant within the cell. Because the ER is in charge of the handling and the carrying of the packages, while the packages themselves could be ribosomes. And the Golgi and vesicles are kind of like the shipping portion of a packaging or mail plant such as Royal Mail, which was solely put there to match the London City Hall. And then we have the mitochondria. The mitochondria carry out aerobic respiration, a process in which energy, in the form of ATP, is obtained from carbohydrates, fats, and occasionally proteins. A good comparison to the mitochondria would be a power plant, because the power plant does provide power all over the city. So I'm going to end this video short because I don't want to go over 5 minutes, and I'm pretty sure I'm about to go over 5 minutes. But thanks for watching my video.